Joel Rothman is a renowned author of over 100 drum and percussion method books. He was born in Brooklyn, New York, and he began studying drums at the age of 10. He was playing with bands by the time he was 13 and wrote his first drum book at the age of 16.
Between the ages of 16 and 25, I was formulating a whole system of teaching.
He studied drums and percussion with well-known teachers such as Sam Olano, Ed Shaughnessy, and Jim Chapin. In fact, Sam Olano helped launch his writing and publishing career.
And Sam did all his own books. So Sam said, look, this is a terrific book. Why should you send it to anybody? Make the money yourself. Just have it printed up, and I'll send you the names of some teachers, maybe send them a book or what have you. And Sam started using the books that I wrote. The first book I did was something called Phrasing Drum Solos. It was a jazz book, and there was nothing like it on the market. It was where you're playing in 4/4 time, but you're actually phrasing your drum solo in 5 or in 3 or in 7. So it was across the bar lines. And there was nothing like that. And it did start selling. And then the next one I wrote was Swinging in 3/4 time. And there was no book on that subject either.
Joel soon discovered that each student he had their own particular difficulty, not covered in a book. So he started writing out exercises from his head that would help the student with their individual problem.
Myself, if somebody came in to me as a student and they could play, very often they had problems with, let's say, jazz coordination. Or somebody else came in and they had problems playing rolls. Or somebody else had problems with speed or individual problems. So if somebody comes in with an individual problem that they want to work on, I'm not giving them a general book on how to read. They know how to read. They know how to play rock or what have you. I would write out stuff out of my head for their individual problems, and then I'd start gathering my thoughts about how I could write something in depth on that particular problem.
Basic Drumming and the Mini Monster Book of Rock Drumming are two of Joel's most successful books.
It's called Basic Drumming, and it's a very thick book, and it does have a section on each thing. A section on rolls, a section on rock, a section on reading.
Joel moved to London, England in the 1970s, where he continued to write and distribute percussion and drumming books.
I contacted a company called EMI. I was hoping they would distribute my books in England. And they said, okay, but we have people all over Europe. You don't have to go anywhere. We have salesmen. We'll take your books around in Europe. Well, when I heard that, I was happy because I really liked London. I didn't come here to teach, but I wound up with like 40, 50 students a week because they knew my name from beforehand. My books were selling. I just wound up staying here, and I wound up, to make a long story short, meeting my wife, one of the English roses, as they call them.
At age 83, Joel continues to reside in London. He keeps busy with his many passions, including antiques, writing humor books, and writing more drum and percussion books, such as Ambidexterity and a new upcoming book.
The top line is one hand with one rhythm, and the bottom line is another rhythm for the left hand. And then, you're playing two different rhythms, and then in the second bar, it reverses. So it's the left hand that has to play the top line, the bottom, and the right hand plays the bottom line. It's not so easy. It's easy sounding and it's easy to read, but that switch from the first bar, the last note of the first bar, into the second bar is very tricky.
Joel would like to share his wealth of drum books with other teachers. He's developed a short questionnaire to pinpoint what books would benefit each instructor.
So my object is to contact teachers, get together 6 to 10 books that I think are appropriate for their teaching, and I send it to them. My hope is that they're going to find 1 or 2 books that they like and that they'll incorporate.